Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here. Welcome to another NIKKE video. So we just had an insane poll session on the live stream. If you missed that, you can watch it as a VOD on my YouTube. And of course, I'll also have a highlight video for the poll session on my YouTube as well in the coming days. But anyhow, I just wanted to create this video to share with you my thoughts on should you or should you not pull for Helm and how she is currently at release, and if she is S rank or A rank on the tier lists out there. So let's first take a look. So this is my Helm. I was very lucky to be able to pull Helm and enough copies to max limit breaker, so it's 4 copies total. And the Helm is a sniper attacker. However, she got changed quite a bit since her testing server skill kit, because she used to be somewhat of a boss killer with attack scaling. So I'll go into that in greater detail. However, back to Helm. So let's take a look at Helm. So her first skill is essentially when the last bullet hits, crit rate buff for everyone, and her second skill affects all allies, damage to interruption parts increase permanently. So this is essentially, for those of you that don't know, this is essentially a damage buff to when you fight the bosses. You know how they have those red circles? This is a damage buff to that. Okay, so you will pop it faster too, and that's why I kind of said she was a boss killer, a very, very strong boss killer. However, I'll tell you why she's not as good compared to like when she first got released in the test server. Her full burst grants all allies 7% attack damage. Of course, this is only level 1, so when it goes to level 10, it will increase. And this was bugged in the test server, but we just tested on stream that the bug has been fixed. It used to be minus 7% for everyone for some reason, but now it's fixed. Her burst skill was the one that got changed the most, right? So right now, her burst skill, it says affects enemies within the attack range and deals X amount of damage, X amount of attack as damage. So this, we tested, it is a single target damage, all right? It's not AoE, even though it says affects enemies in the attack range. So I'm not sure what's wrong with the translation, but so far in the testing I have and on stream, it's single target. And also, she gives allies massive lifesteal. It restores 32.17% of the attack damage for 10 seconds. So this is actually massive lifesteal. So where does she fare now? So in my honest opinion, oh, and sorry, I did forget to talk about how she was like on the test server. On the test server, her third skill, it did a percentage of the boss's max HP, all right, max HP, which was insane. And in the first iteration, it capped at it capped at Helm's max HP and then capped at Helm's max attack. And now it's just removed. It's just a very high multiplier, which makes her a bit weaker compared to before because she used to do insane damage. However, I'm glad the developers balanced this, because if we call Helm and she suddenly comes out of the gate insanely busted, I know some people will complain about power creep and they'll be worried about how come every unit coming out is going to be crazy like that. So I'm glad the developers did this. But now let's take a look at where she stands in the tier list, in my opinion, and then talk about team compositions after that. All right, so let's head on towards the tier list. So we're on the Pride Win tier list, and of course I'm going to use actually multiple tier lists to look at how things are going. So for the Pride Win tier list, SS ranking right now, of course we have Scarlet at the very top. For me, I think Scarlet definitely deserves that spot, and we tested Scarlet actually with Helm in this in our testing on the stream, and I would right now currently slot Helm either in the lower end of S and the higher end of A, because what I think is her kit is very good. The attack damage buff, the crit rate buff, the massive heal, okay, I think S for sure deserved if you have a core Scarlet on the team. If you don't, then I can only place Helm right now on the A tier list. That's how I would rank her, because she seems like a very good accessory to someone like Scarlet, who would benefit from the heal, the lifesteal, who would benefit from the crit rate, and who would benefit obviously from the attack damage, right? And pushing the best, arguably one of the best unit in the game further, makes you a very good support. So right now, Helm, I would say lower S or high A, depending on whether or not you have Scarlet. If we look at the Chinese tier list, which was updated today, this is the latest one, okay? So they put Litter as tier 0, which I completely agree as the burst 1 support. They put Dola. Dola is a really good tier 2. And for the tier 0s, they have Heron, Gren, and Yuha. So a lot of you might be confused about Yuha, so I'll explain this right now. Yuha, her second skill gives at level 10 a 90-something% bonus attack to the entire team, and it's not related to burst. Oh, and they have already added Helm, so very close, right? Because Helm is ranked tier 1 on this list right now. I didn't even see that. Okay, so the CN players, they put Helm at tier 1, which yeah, I think I would somewhat agree with my S, lower S, high A result, right? Which I don't understand is why Vesti is in tier 1 when her burst is bugged and she only does 1 damage, but I'll save that for another video. And Heron is tier 0. So one of the main testing that we did was we looked at if Helm was comparable to Heron, because if you look at my account, and of course I'm going to show you how lucky I am, I've got both Scarlet and Heron right here, right? So with a maxed limit broken Helm, how did she fare up in Heron against Heron? Okay, so a chat can obviously be my witness here. When we tested Helm in the shooting range, the amount of lifesteal that she gave to Scarlet was insane. Okay, we can take a look. Not only did she give crazy lifesteal to Scarlet, she also gave units like Litter bonkers heal. So we'll just take a look here, okay? And I'll show you guys in the shooting range. And this greatly affected my decision on whether or not I felt I was going to run Helm or Heron. I think, again, it's still very situational, okay? It's very dependent on that. But we can see the Helm is going to bring a lot of buffs, okay? I'll just show you what type of buffs she brings that are crucial. Let's do this. Okay, so we'll pause. We're now entered full burst, okay? We've entered full burst, and let's look at the buffs. So from Helm, she's going to get the fire away buff, okay? And then she's going to get lifesteal. So let's watch Scarlet's number as she lifesteals from the S3. Look at that. That's insane, okay? But this is not the full lifesteal. Watch the numbers when it's Helm's burst time, okay? Watch the numbers when it's Helm's burst time. And yes, there was a question in chat, and thank you for pointing this out. Doesn't Scarlet want to be low HP anyways? In high firepower situations, Scarlet will be. Because right now, in the shooting range, look at this. I'm healing for 4k, and look at Litter's heal. Look at that. Look at that heal. Alright, so basically what Helm allows you to do is to skip a healer completely. I'm sure most of you, when you guys are stuck, okay, are stuck at a level or something, healing actually makes a big difference, but you cannot afford to really run a healer. And this is why Rapunzel, later on in the chapters, people found Rapunzel so good, because Rapunzel was able to output damage and heal like crazy, right? Helm does all of that with better damage than Rapunzel, okay, and supports your #1 damage dealer, which is Scarlet. And that's why she's much better. So when we did the test in the shooting range and we removed Helm and we put Heron in, okay, this netted us around a 10% DPS loss. 10%. So I think you have to put in mind that Heron is an AoE machine. She is an AoE machine. So of course she's going to do better in the shooting range because there are a lot more units. However, you also have to know that Helm makes sure the rest of your team stays alive for longer so you can output more DPS, alright? And most importantly, in the boss fights, upcoming boss fight contents, co-op, raid later on, events, all that stuff, anything with a boss fight and a red thing or the grave digger that I cannot hit for the life of me, I would use Helm over Heron every single time. every single time. So this is why I think if you have a Scarlet, Helm enables your comp so much that she deserves an S. Okay, at least a lower S. A dead DPS, like Tom said, is a bad DPS. So if Helm is by herself, I could see the argument for high A, but for me personally, I rank Helm currently in this meta as a low S right now, okay? Low S. So that is where I would rank her. And if, again, we look at the tier list right now, tier 1 is where Helm is placed, just above, below Hirin and Gurren. Not Gurren, this is a Japanese name, Scarlet. And this is where I would put her in this line. Okay, that's where I would put her. If no Scarlet, I think she is still a very good support to run with your main team, because you know she is able to provide survivability, damage, and output decent amount of damage herself as well. But anyhow, that's a quick rundown. I think we will get more results once we have more content. Okay, we have more content that has boss stages, such as the raid, such as co-op and all that stuff, which is coming. So we should see more Helms in action. But until then, this is my rating. And thanks guys for tuning in to my should you pull Helm. My final recommendation is pull 1 copy. The rates are pretty insane, so pull 1 copy. Okay, all right. TimaeuSS here. I'll see you guys in the next video.